Yeah, just Chris Spears. And this is a couple weeks old, but it's been kind of sticking with me. I've been thinking about it because he outlined a few points to this House committee, I got at the House Transportation Committee, Transportation and Infrastructure, just highlighting some of the big, concerns for the industry.
Hold on,
And
real quick.
so overdriveonline.com, I actually pulled them up because
Okay.
they were the first big hit on this topic. And so they
So
pulled together.
who is Chris Spear?
He's the ATA guy. The
Oh,
president, is that his title? President and CEO,
right.
Chris Spear.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Okay.
said
See,
Spears. But
I didn't know. Okay. So he's sitting down in front of, you said, the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee, and he
yes,
highlighted some of the current industry challenges.
Right.
And
right.
what were some
and
key
so
highlights?
overdriveonline.com put together kind of like their main points that he brought up. So main concerns, main things, the challenges facing the industry. And it was just funny because two of the five major things facing this entire country are essentially just things manufactured by California, created by California with their insane legislation and insane regulation. But just the quick highlights. I mean, parking, which is, I think, definitely a big concern, definitely something that we should tackle. I think if government's going to get involved, that'd be something to certainly get involved with. Congestion. A couple of these things informed by some other things that are happening. So parking and congestion are only going to get worse if we electrify transportation in the short term, at least if other things don't change. But so California, of course, with their net zero policies, like really aggressive things, are one of Chris Spears' like big challenges that he has to face down. He just thinks it's completely insane what they're doing, totally unrealistic on the timeline to get to net zero by 2035, I think is the current thing. Right. So he's like, it's going to fail, and all it's going to do is create a ton of problems in the short term. California's AB5 is another big thing that's creating just havoc in the industry. Independent contractors are packing up, leaving California in droves. And it's just going to create a ton of supply chain issues. So I just thought it was interesting that, basically California is accounting for half of the major issues. I always like the opportunity to mention my new home state here in California and how pragmatic and practical and realistic they are with everything they do. But
and how friendly they are to trucking businesses.
Right. I mean, all jokes aside, it's really scary stuff. But yeah, that's been on my radar lately.
Yeah, it's funny because I was listening to some other podcasts about electrification, and they some of them were California residents, and they're like in full force and full agreement of like, yeah, electrification is the future, but to force it, it's just a lot of things won't be ready. Just there's a lot of things not ready for full-blown everything electrification. So
I mean, if you think parking is bad now, imagine if you have all these vehicles trying to recharge on the road. That's just one of the downstream types of unintended consequences of this kind of stuff. So
so essentially it's refreshing to hear that somebody this guy Chris, he's sitting down in front of the government and actually highlighting issues that are affecting the common man, so to speak, the common truck driver that's out on the road that can't find parking at 4 or 5 p.m. can't find parking to save his life. So he's highlighting some of these issues, making them aware and in front of the people that will be passing some legislation, that's refreshing. Correct?
Yeah, I think the ATA does a pretty good job of being a voice for trucking. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree. I'm sure they're not perfect, but they do seem to have like a realistic finger on the pulse of what's going on, and they're a voice of reason in government and other things in the industry.
Right. And Flint, any opinions on some of this? Looks like congestion is a problem. Truck parking is a problem. AB5, and electrification. Any opinions on any of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows what all the problems are, right? I mean, the big question is how long do you have to talk about them before government maybe actually does something, right? I don't know, just a thought, like maybe we could find solutions, but
Right.